I think that that sort of was a like we sort of touched on that before, IT today, most of your basic tech support today for 9 out of 10 firms out there, it's on a flat retainer per month, and you've got virtually unlimited help desk. And for those firms out there, and I actually know some competitors that are still doing time material, I'm like, that's hasn't been done in over a decade at this point in time. It's an interesting model, and at the end of the day, you have to kind of juggle that. Okay, you know what? Setting up a corporation, yes, I can do it myself. Chances are there's going to be some AI robo advisor to set up a corporation. Maybe a simple business, yeah, sure, I can do that with AI. But on the flip side, the shareholders agreement, you're still going to want a lawyer to kind of review that and maybe provide some guidance and advice that AI is not going to be ideal to use as a tool today, especially if it's a complex, shareholders agreement. Um, and then on the flip side, with family law, again, you've got variables that maybe it's a simple case or something very, rudimentary that you can say, okay, you know what, this is pretty straightforward, cut and dry, in and out. Thank you very much. And then there's the complex cases, which are, a lot more hands on. And at the end of the day, it will impact both beneficial. I think from a billing perspective, I think profitability can go up if it's being embraced. On the flip side, it just means that you're not doing the business that you've been doing for the last 50 years. And that is going to be. I think that's going to be the hardest part for all the partners out there and the firms out there that are just looking at, T and M, right? Like, it's like all of a sudden, like, what do you mean? I'm got to break that mold. And it's a real shift. It took me a long time. I could tell you, I think it took me like 3 to 5 years to build that model in the IT industry because there was no model to build on. I literally had to start from scratch. And we switched in 2008 away from, like, not everything, but we stopped billing certain things on an hourly to more of a flat fee every month. And it was very hard. We had to learn lessons learned, but I think overall, long term, it was the right way. And today, 9 out of 10 MSPs and tech support companies charge a flat retainer.
Yeah. No, and you're
So
right about that, right? And it took you 3 to 5 years because there wasn't as much industry pressure. I think right now, if in the age of AI, whether you look at the ARR growth of Claude or just AI adoption of like OpenAI or something, OpenAI has 1 billion active users, right? Like any no tool in the history of the world got to that usage that fast. So everything is being accelerated. So if you were to redo it today, your 3 to 5 years would look significantly smaller because there's going to be macro pressures that may not have existed to the full extent back then.
I think that we're in it for we have the same challenges too. Like if you think about it, like if you don't think AI is impacting IT, at the end of the day, I was at a tech show a week or two ago, and it was a new cybersecurity upgrade for a firewall brand. And that brand actually has now an AI based interface. So it's all voice recognition. And you can basically, you'll get almost like a Star Trek kind of thing where it says, your network is being attacked. And then you're like, okay, well, diagnose where it's sourcing from. And it tells you. And then you're like, okay, well, block this country or block the IP. And it's like, okay, blocking the IP. Okay, successfully blocked the IP, now monitoring. And it'll tell you, oh, the hacker's now trying to come in through another source. And you basically are interfacing with this AI agent to mitigate a hacker into your network with the new software upgrades. So this is the reality. It doesn't matter what industry you're in. Unless you're, laying bricks and still doing some plumbing, which is why some people are leaving into trades because there's a little bit more runway before that industry is going to be more impacted. But for the meanwhile, professional services, it's here and it's now. So it's not something that we can hide away from. And we are all going to need to be responsive. And I think businesses in general are looking at getting the right advice on how to prepare themselves, how to make that transition, how to put a plan together, not just for the technology, but how to rebuild their company around those technologies. And I think that that is a thing that a lot of people out there are struggling with. And I would say typically, don't try to create a wheel. There are several wheels out there already that can be sort of copied, rinsed, and reused. And obviously, you'll have to make it your own. But I think that that is key and critical. Do you guys support companies in that long term planning, or is this something that you need to find a partner, or do you guys work with the in house IT department to kind of strategize around that?
Yeah, so a couple of things. I think we're still a little early where we don't have an official program behind this, but when we do hear companies who are looking to learn about the AI space, we're happy to help them out. So, for example, next week we're going into a law firm's office for a lunch and learn, trying to give them an overview of the AI space. There's no sales involved. We just want to be partners, and we're trying to give them here how other people are using AI. Here's what you should look out for. And here like really bad stories, ugly stories that you should be able to like you should prevent no matter what. So we try to definitely do that. The other thing we try to do is we're actually in very good relationships with multiple legal ops departments. So in some of the bigger firms, above like 10, 15 lawyers, they have a legal ops department. They're actually in charge of picking the tooling and figuring out the security and running kind of the operations of what you would imagine at a firm. Now, we're partnered with a lot of them in order to keep feeding them good uh, data about the industry as a whole, where to look out for. So we are doing that informally, but we haven't created a formal structure about it yet.